A lot of people ask me, what is your favorite Kamen Rider series? And I always answer, Kamen Rider Agito. Well, who's your favorite Kamen Rider? Always comes after that. And Agito features the single most badass rider ever, with the coolest design and the most awesome characterization of any Kamen Rider I know of. That Kamen Rider is not this one. This one is actually packed in with that particular rider, and he will be coming up here in a minute. But first, we're going to start with this review of SIC Another Agito. Yes, that's literally his name, Another Agito. Weird, I know. It's Japan. Go with it. We're going to start off, for a change, with articulation, not the detailing. Why? Because shut up, it's my review. I want to get this out of the way first because, well, it's almost exactly the same on the second toy in this set, so we'll just cover it now. Ball-jointed neck on the top and the bottom, just like a figure art would have, and very nice range of motion with it. The collar, not getting in the way too much, very nice. Shoulders, plenty of range. The armor does kind of get in the way, but there's usually some way of moving it around. It's a ball joint on both sides of a stem, so you've got plenty of range of motion. Double jointed elbow that works extremely well. No real bicep swivel, but the shoulder rotates so much it's really not all that necessary. The wrist is hinged as well as swivels, so lots of range in the wrist as well. Torso, very nice motion. It's again double ball jointed. You've got a lot of range to move around the chest and the midsection separately. The belt isn't glued or attached on in any way. It just kind of floats there, so it's not going to hinder anything. The ball joints in the hips are a little bit restricted, as I find is true on most SICs. You can only get a more realistic range of motion out of him, and it does limit some of the kick poses you might want to do. Bit of rotation to it, not a whole lot though. You've got lots of knee articulation. You can see this little stem, this grasshopper leg, does not get in the way at all there. And finishing off at the ankles, which do have a rotation. They have a tilt, love the ankle tilt. And the toes, which are also hinged for extra posability and stability. All around, lots of nice posing. Not quite as solid as a figure art in the posing department, but still no slouch. It's still an exceptionally nice figure. I should also mention the posing on these. Now, the other figure doesn't have these, but they are true to Another Agito. They do swivel at the connection point on his back. They also swivel on their own little hinge joint, and there's the back and forward hinging. So, if those are in your way, or if you want to pose them in a specific pattern, you can. Nice and easy. Now we talk about detailing a little bit. SICs for me are either hit or miss with the detailing because they really like to go super exaggerated and realistic with the details. In the case of Another Agito, really doesn't do anything. Okay, there are some added details. There is some exaggeration to the design, but ultimately Another Agito kind of looks like this normally. So it's kind of just a big figure art here. I'll give you a close-up of the head. You can see the segmented eyes. Very nice layering effect thanks to the translucent plastic and the reflective underneath it's actually molded in. See, lots of little paint around the mouth and tons around the horn. Look at all that little bit of dark detailing just to bring out all those subtle little line details. Tons and tons of attention. And really, really awesome looking design. Now, I'll tell you right now, I'll just go ahead and get this out of the way. He does come with a second head, which exposes the teeth. Yep, he could open up his faceplate and grin at people. I know, it's a little creepy, and it really doesn't change the look all that much. Not very dramatic of a change, really. Also, this just looks like he's smiling. Why so serious? Okay, easy reference out of the way. Moving on to the chest, you can see the translucent spot there in the center. Not quite sure what it's called. Someone will probably say it in the comments. But it looks cool, and I'm quite happy that just that piece is translucent. All the rest is kind of formed around it. You can see a lot of those extra details lined in. A lot of the times, SIC designs are meant to get across the whole bug nature that Kamen Riders were originally designed with, and you can really see some of that. This does look like more organic shell-type design that you would see on the carapace of a bug. Especially when you look at things like that. That's his logo tattooed in, by the way. You can see tons everywhere. Look at all the veins. Look at all the coursing little panels. Look at all these sections that look like bug shell. I mean, it's absolutely incredible how much detail goes in here. And all the paint. Very tiny amounts of paint just to bring out some of the subtle details, like all the little spines on the grasshopper legs. Man, it's just so much. I mean, you could go over this for days and you would not get all of it. And I really like it in the scarves, which are meant to represent a bug wing. And the translucent plastic actually gives this a very nice layered effect. You can, in the right light, you can kind of see both sides of the molding. You can especially see it through there, which really gives it this very organic look. It's very creepy in a way, and also very well detailed. Also, little tiny wings. Little tiny shells, whichever one you want to believe them to be. It's kind of hard to tell. But they look cool. And again, lots of minute paint, lots of little things to really bring it out. Another Agito really does have a very cool design. And the SIC style is just born to exemplify it. Like I said, it's not too different, but it does bring out a lot of the little bits that the design was clearly meant to incorporate. As for accessories, you're in for a treat, because Another Agito's accessories, besides the spare head, include 2 hands. Both these awkward, slightly open grip hands, which are nicely detailed. Lots of little grooves and little bits and divisions and little veins and things. All kinds of things you'd expect a hand to have. And that's it. That's the only thing he came with. Spare head, 2 hands. Really reminding me of another Agito toy I picked up once upon a time. But rather than go for the obvious reference here, we're just going to move on to the second figure in this box set. Oh yes, now we are talking. For everyone who has ever asked, this is my absolute favorite Kamen Rider, Gills. And for many reasons, I could mention how good his story arc is in the show. I could mention how brutal his fighting style is. Or we can do something relevant to the toy and just talk about how cool the design looks. Now, he's got the same articulation as mentioned, though he does have a proper bicep swivel, so that is a plus for him. But take a look at that. Look how fierce the horns are. Those are probably the most exaggerated part of this design. Eyes are a little bit smaller than the original, too. Love the eyes. Love the combination of colors here. Little gem in the middle. Not always nice for to have the small details. And you have some fangs molded in here, rather than your traditional faceplate. Gold on the collar, and going into the chest is where you really see the SIC insectoid Bugman influence. A lot of the faded details here that really make this look like a bug shell. Little brown just tracing along the green. That's not present in the original design, of course. You can also see something else that SIC is known for. A lot of cracks and little splits in the armor. So, yeah, they like to make a Kamen Rider look a lot rougher. And they succeed, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Gills is kind of a brutal character, so it works. Little gems on the forearms, painted in bright green. A little bit of gold there for the spikes. Closed fists, all with the individual segments around all of his little armor on the fingers. You can see all the muscle tone that's molded in here and just traced with a really dark brown paint. Really kind of just getting a little bit of difference between all those grooves. Not quite panel lining, but definitely looks cool. A lot of little details going across the armor on the legs. Again, we have some gems, and we have the gold cuff, and lots of more spikes. This guy's got spikes all over, and I love that. So you can see right down to the belt. Ooh, nice and simple belt. I like it, though. tons and tons of detail going into this guy. Absolutely brilliant looking figure. For accessories, I'm happy to announce he has more than just a spare head and hands. Though he does have a spare head. I will get that out of the way. This one in particular has a wide open mouth, which actually you can see right through. You can see my finger in there. So it kind of gives it this esophagus look when you actually put it on the toy. It's really kind of creepy that way. You'll also notice the broken horns. This is for the damaged gills look. The horn is removable, and you can swap it out for the one on the normal head that is not screaming with the rage of a beast. So you have a lot more options in display there. And for extra hands, you get all of 2. Yes, again, I'll tell you right now, it's for the exact same reason as Figuarts Agito. The extra hands come with the bike, which is actually a form-changing bike that works for both Another Agito and Gills. Again, the hands are very well painted, lots of little grooves, lots of little subtle paint details, but, you know, it's just 2 hands. Though granted, with Gills, you really don't need that many more hands besides these, his fists and his rage hands. That's pretty much all he ever needed in the show. For more accessorizing, you can swap out his forearm armor for 2 of these. These blades are Gills' signature weapon. Now, you can see the armor itself looks pretty similar, and then you have this really sharp-pointed bug leg just kind of spouting out from the arm. Looks really cool, really fits in with his brutal nature, and really looks very different from how it does in the original show, where it looks more like a blade or a talon. Here, definitely looks like a spider or insect leg of some type, which gives it a bit more of a creepy nature to it, or maybe more of a bone quality. Still, it's very cool, very vicious looking. He also comes with these. These are the little spikes you put on the back of his heels in order to deliver his particular rider kick. An axe kick that drives these points right into an enemy. Again, he's kind of vicious that way. And again, it's kind of molded to be more insectoid leg or bone style in structure. Again, giving it more of a creepy feel. But then again, they're just feet spikes. They don't really change the look that much. And here it is. Hide your schoolgirls, because it's the Gills Feeler. His extension whip, tendril, whatever you want to call it. It's an organic tentacle that he attacks with. You know, what can I say? You can see, again, it's got more of a bone nature to it. I mean, this is pretty much how it looks, but they kind of exemplified it, so now it kind of has a spinal quality to it, and ending off on a really vicious-looking spike at the end. Nice stinger, since we're going with an insectoid theme, I guess. Now, there are some advantages and disadvantages to this over the Figuarts version. You know, the advantage is that, well, it looks a lot cooler, and it has a more natural flow to it and shape. The disadvantage, unlike the Figuart version, there are no segments in it at all, so this is pretty much all you get. So you can't extend it or shorten it, you can't move it about. But it does look more natural and organic, which I guess fits in with SIC. The other disadvantage is you only get 1, which was kind of a letdown in the package. It's the only weapon of Gills you only get 1 of, which is kind of strange. But then again, yeah, this might just get creepy if you had more than 1, so let's just stick with this. SIC is kind of an interesting line to me, because for me, the designs are either hit or miss. When they miss, they look so ugly in my eyes, but when they hit, oh man do they hit. And these two hit huge. The organic nature of both of their designs really, really helps the SIC's overall aesthetic, and really manages to make 2 awesome looking figures. Now, if you've never bought SICs before, keep in mind, they are larger than a Figuart by a good inch or 2, but they do not have the same tolerances as a Figuart. So if you're a little too rough, you're going to have something pop off, and there's going to be a couple gap issues here and there. But nothing major, nothing game-breaking. Basically, pose them, display them, enjoy them, play with them like they're import toys, because, well, they are. Speaking of, my imports came from HobbyLink Japan, as usual. As usual, there is a link below. And as usual, I'm probably going to be buying something more there soon, just so I have more to go with these two. Gotta figure out where to get the bike now. Gotta figure out where to put the bike. Oh boy. See the rabbit hole these things lead into? Not complaining about being in the rabbit hole, just, you know, be nice if I had a parachute while I fall every now and then.